Australia, home to the world's most remarkable landscapes. Here, coral reefs stretch for thousands of kilometers, deserts cover nearly the whole interior, and ancient rocks reveal stories billions of years old. Beneath its surface, towns are carved into stone, and lakes appear in impossible shades of pink. Surrounded by vast oceans and filled with diverse landscapes, Australia holds some of the oldest geological features on Earth. With most people living around the coast, you won't believe the incredible landscapes and natural wonders that the rest of Australia has to offer. So stick around because in this video, we'll explore 50 fascinating geography facts about the land down under. But first, if you love learning about the craziest, most unbelievable places on Earth, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our latest videos. So let's dive right in. At number 1. Australia sits on an ancient continental crust drifting across the planet for millions of years. Covering 7.69 million square kilometers, it is the world's smallest continent, yet the 6th largest country. Its landmass began breaking away from Gondwana 180 million years ago, finally separating from Antarctica around 35 to 45 million years ago. Today, Australia moves northward at about 7 centimeters per year. This drift makes it the fastest moving continent on Earth and will eventually cause it to collide with Asia in about 30 million years, reshaping landscapes and creating entirely new mountain ranges. Number 2. The Great Barrier Reef stretches 2,300 kilometers along Queensland's coast, visible from space as the planet's largest living structure. Covering 348,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of Germany, it includes over 2,500 individual reefs and 900 islands. Despite its beauty and World Heritage status, the reef faces serious threats from coral bleaching, climate change, and ocean acidification, raising global concern for the survival of one of Earth's most unique ecosystems. Number 3. Australia is Earth's flattest continent, with an average elevation of 330 meters above sea level. This extreme flatness comes from ancient mountain ranges eroding over millions of years. Peaks that once rivaled the Himalayas are now worn down into low hills and plains. This flat topography creates sweeping horizons in the outback and influences weather, as wind and rainfall move across long distances unobstructed. Despite being flat, the continent still contains remarkable landscapes, from alpine peaks in the southwest to lush rainforests in Queensland, showing how geological age shaped Australia's distinctive and varied environments. At number 4. The outback covers 80% of Australia, about 5.6 million square kilometers, yet it sustains ecosystems uniquely adapted to arid life. The outback holds some of Earth's oldest rocks, dating back 3.6 to 3.8 billion years in Western Australia's Pilbara region. The iron-rich soil gives the land its iconic red tone, visible from space. Despite harshness, kangaroos, emus, reptiles, and desert plants flourish here, making the outback one of the most distinctive wilderness regions on the planet. Number 5. Australia boasts 35,877 kilometers of mainland coastline, lined with more than 10,685 beaches. Visiting one new beach daily would take nearly 29 years. This immense coastline surpasses Earth's equatorial circumference and hosts diverse environments, from coral reefs in the north to kelp forests in the south. Dramatic limestone cliffs rise along the Great Australian Bight, while sandy shores attract millions of swimmers and surfers each year. The ocean moderates temperatures across much of Australia's population, making coastal life both comfortable and essential. This vast shoreline defines the nation's geography, culture, and strong connection to the sea. Number 6. Lake Hillier on Middle Island in Western Australia is famous for its cotton candy pink waters that stay vibrant year-round. The lake is about 600 meters long, and its unusual color is believed to result from salt-loving bacteria, algae, and mineral concentrations. Unlike seasonal pink lakes that change with weather, Hillier remains consistently pink regardless of temperature or rainfall. Surrounded by eucalyptus forests and located beside the deep blue Southern Ocean, the contrast is breathtaking. Accessible only by plane or boat, Lake Hillier remains one of Australia's most exclusive natural spectacles, drawing photographers and curious visitors worldwide. At number 7. Uluru rises 348 meters above the desert plains but extends nearly 2.5 kilometers underground. This massive sandstone monolith is one of the largest single rock formations on Earth. Measuring 3.6 kilometers long and 2.4 kilometers wide, Uluru glows dramatically at sunrise and sunset. Geologically, it formed around 550 million years ago. Culturally, it is sacred to the Anangu people, who have maintained traditions and stories connected to Uluru for tens of thousands of years. Its combination of geological wonder and spiritual importance makes it an unmatched global landmark. Number 8. The Nullarbor Plain holds one of the world's longest straight stretches of road. The Eyre Highway runs for 146.6 kilometers without a single curve. The name Nullarbor comes from Latin, meaning no trees. Covering 200,000 square kilometers, it is the largest single limestone expanse in the world. Driving across feels surreal. Endless horizons, low scrubland, and little change in scenery. Beneath, vast cave systems hide, including some of Earth's longest underwater caves. The Trans-Australian Railway also crosses here, featuring the world's longest straight railway, 478 kilometers without deviation. The Nullarbor showcases Australia's geological extremes. Number 9. Wave Rock in Western Australia is a granite formation shaped like a giant ocean wave frozen in stone. Standing 15 meters high and stretching 110 meters long, it is one of Australia's most recognizable landforms, and it formed over millions of years through weathering and erosion. Chemical processes dissolved minerals from granite, sculpting smooth curves. Rainwater stains running down its face created colorful vertical streaks, enhancing the illusion of a breaking wave. Surrounding rocks date back 2.7 billion years, among the oldest on Earth. For Aboriginal people, Wave Rock holds cultural importance, while tourists marvel at its uncanny resemblance to ocean surf. At number 10, Australia experiences incredible temperature extremes. The hottest recorded was 50.7 degrees Celsius in Oodnadatta, South Australia, while the coldest was -23 degrees Celsius in Charlotte Pass, New South Wales. That's a 74 degrees Celsius range across one continent. Australia's climate varies because it stretches across 35 degrees of latitude, covering tropical, temperate, and alpine zones. Inland deserts face massive swings, with daytime heat followed by freezing nights. These extremes push plants and animals to adapt in unique ways, creating ecosystems that can withstand remarkable conditions. From scorching deserts to snow-covered mountains, Australia is one of the most climatically diverse continents. Number 11. The Murray-Darling Basin drains approximately 1/7 of Australia, covering over 1 million square kilometers. Despite its vast size, it produces surprisingly little water due to Australia's dry climate. The Murray River alone stretches 2,508 kilometers, making it the longest in the country. This basin supports 2 million people and produces around 40% of the nation's agricultural output. During droughts, parts of the system dry completely, leaving exposed beds. Aboriginal communities lived along its rivers for over 40,000 years, developing advanced water management traditions that remain vital examples of survival in arid conditions. Number 12. Australia operates across 3 standard time zones, but can expand to 5 during daylight saving. Western Australia, the Northern Territory, and Queensland don't observe daylight saving, while New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, and Tasmania do. Some states even change clocks on different dates, creating a temporary 5-zone system. Lord Howe Island adds further uniqueness by shifting only 30 minutes instead of an hour. This patchwork reflects Australia's federal structure, where states control time standards. Coordinating schedules across regions can sometimes be more complex than between different countries, showcasing how even timekeeping is geographically challenging in Australia. At number 13. Bass Strait separates mainland Australia from Tasmania, spanning 240 to 350 kilometers of notoriously rough waters. Despite being shallow, averaging just 50 to 60 meters deep, the strait is treacherous. Fierce winds and powerful currents funnel through the narrow passage, creating waves over 15 meters high. More than 1,000 ships have been lost here. About 10,000 years ago, rising sea levels submerged the land bridge that once connected Tasmania to the mainland. Today, while still dangerous, Bass Strait is economically important, holding oil and gas reserves, and remains one of Australia's most formidable natural boundaries. Number 14. The Gibson Desert in Western Australia is dotted with flat-topped mesas that rise suddenly from the plains. These formations, rich in iron oxide, glow red under the desert sun, creating alien-like scenery. Their hard caps shield softer rock beneath from erosion, leaving isolated natural skyscrapers after millions of years of weathering. NASA even uses similar landscapes to train astronauts for Mars missions. Covering 156,000 square kilometers, the Gibson Desert is one of Australia's most remote areas. Its striking mesas and harsh conditions highlight both the beauty and the isolation of Central Australia's deserts. At number 15. Australia has one of the lowest population densities on Earth, averaging just 3.5 people per square kilometer. If the world matched this density, only 50 million people would live on Earth instead of over 8 billion. Most of Australia's 26 million residents cluster along the coasts, especially in the southeast. In contrast, the interior holds fewer than one person per 100 square kilometers. Coastal cities like Sydney reach densities exceeding 40,000 people per square kilometer in urban centers. Number 16. Speaking of population, over 85% of Australians live within 50 kilometers of the coast, making it one of the world's most coastal populations. The interior, despite covering most of the continent, remains sparsely populated. This pattern stems from history, as colonization began with coastal settlements built around harbors and trade. Harsh interior conditions, limited water, extreme heat, and vast distances further discouraged large-scale inland development. As a result, the majority of Australians live within easy reach of the sea. Beaches, harbors, and coastal cities dominate, while the outback remains a remote and mysterious frontier for most citizens. Number 17. Kakadu National Park in the Northern Territory preserves one of the world's greatest collections of Aboriginal rock art. Spanning about 20,000 years, its 5,000 sites cover 20,000 square kilometers. The oldest works predate Stonehenge by 15,000 years. Some paintings even depict now extinct animals, offering rare insight into Australia's ancient ecosystems. Rock art was often painted over older layers, showing cultural continuity across millennia. Today, Kakadu serves as both a cultural archive and a biodiversity hotspot, blending pristine landscapes with a living history of human connection to the land. At number 18. The Great Dividing Range runs 3,500 kilometers along Australia's eastern coast, making it the fifth longest mountain range in the world. Despite its length, its highest peak, Mount Kosciuszko, reaches only 2,228 meters. Its relatively low height reflects erosion of once towering peaks over millions of years. This range influences climate by capturing coastal moisture, creating rainforests on one side and dry regions on the other. It is also home to Australia's entire ski industry, alpine meadows, and rivers that form crucial watersheds. Number 19. Shark Bay in Western Australia is home to the world's most extensive and diverse living stromatolite colonies, often called living fossils because they represent Earth's earliest forms of complex life. These formations date back 3.5 billion years, offering a glimpse into Earth's earliest life forms. Stromatolites grow slowly as bacteria trap sediments, creating layered structures. Shark Bay's hypersaline waters protect them from grazing organisms, making this one of the few places where they still thrive. The area also supports dugongs, dolphins, and vast seagrass meadows, creating one of the planet's richest marine habitats. UNESCO recognizes Shark Bay as a World Heritage Site for both its scientific importance and its extraordinary biodiversity. Number 20. Beneath Australia lies the Great Artesian Basin, the world's largest underground freshwater system. Covering 1.7 million square kilometers, it holds about 64,900 cubic kilometers of water, enough to cover the entire continent to a depth of 8.4 meters. Rainfall seeped into porous rock millions of years ago, creating pressurized aquifers. This water still supports remote communities, livestock, and unique ecosystems across arid regions. Some groundwater is over 2 million years old. The Great Artesian Basin is not only Australia's lifeline, but also one of the planet's greatest hidden natural resources. At number 21. The Australian Alps receive heavy snowfalls in winter, supporting ski resorts from June to October. Although smaller than the European Alps, Mount Kosciuszko and nearby peaks often see deep snowpacks. However, warmer temperatures and stronger sunlight mean snow melts faster than in Europe. The snowy mountains host unique ecosystems, including snow gums and alpine species adapted to extreme conditions. Meltwater also powers hydroelectric schemes and irrigates farmland. The contrast between Australia's beaches and its snowfields highlights the country's climatic diversity, where tropical rainforests, deserts, and ski resorts all coexist within one continent. Number 22. Lake Eyre, also called Katithanda, lies 15 meters below sea level, making it Australia's lowest point. Normally a dry salt pan, it fills only after exceptional rainfall across its massive 1.2 million square kilometer basin. When flooded, it becomes the country's largest lake, spanning 9,500 square kilometers. These rare events attract millions of waterbirds almost instantly. During dry years, its surface gleams white with salt crystals stretching to the horizon. Number 23. Australia protects over 500 national parks, covering nearly 28 million hectares. Kakadu alone is half the size of Switzerland, preserving wetlands, rocky escarpments, and immense biodiversity. These parks safeguard landscapes ranging from tropical rainforests and alpine meadows to deserts and reefs. They also protect sacred Aboriginal sites, merging natural conservation with cultural heritage. Parks like Uluru Katajuta and the Blue Mountains attract millions of visitors each year while maintaining strict environmental standards. Many parks act as outdoor laboratories, allowing scientists to study evolution and ecology in relatively untouched ecosystems. At number 24. The Canning Stock Route in Western Australia is one of the longest cattle driving trails in the world, stretching 1,850 kilometers between Halls Creek and Wiluna, crossing vast desert landscapes. Built in the early 1900s, it required wells spaced precisely one day's cattle drive apart. The route cuts through remote deserts with limited water, making it a monumental challenge for early drovers. Each well had to be hand-dug, often in grueling conditions. Though no longer used for cattle, today it draws adventurous travelers attempting the world's longest historic stock route. Number 25. Australia is made up of 6 states and 2 major mainland territories, each with its own unique character and government. The states are New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, Victoria, and Western Australia. These states are self-governing with their own constitutions, legislatures, and law enforcement. The 2 major mainland territories are the Northern Territory and the Australian Capital Territory, where the national capital, Canberra, is located. Besides these, Australia also manages several smaller external territories, including islands scattered across the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Together, these divisions form the political and administrative framework of Australia, reflecting a diverse and expansive nation spread across the vast continent and surrounding waters. Number 26. The Nullarbor Links is the world's longest golf course, stretching 1,365 kilometers across 2 states. Each hole is located in a different town along the Eyre Highway, requiring players to drive between them. Completing the full course can take several days. Each hole highlights local landscapes, from coastal cliffs to desert scrub. The course combines tourism, local culture, and Australia's vast distances into one unique experience. Participants receive certificates for completion, making it both a sporting challenge and a travel adventure. At number 27. The Great Ocean Road in Victoria stretches 243 kilometers along rugged coastline and doubles as the world's largest war memorial. Built by returned soldiers between 1919 and 1932, it honored those who died in World War I. Carved through cliffs and forests with basic tools, it was both a construction feat and an act of remembrance. Along its route lie spectacular sights, including the 12 Apostles, limestone sea stacks slowly eroding from the cliffs. Millions travel the road each year, experiencing scenery that blends natural beauty with history, making it one of Australia's most iconic drives. Number 28. Christmas Island, located 2,600 kilometers from mainland Australia, hosts one of nature's greatest migrations. Each year, over 50 million red crabs march from forest to sea to breed. Roads, beaches, and landscapes turn red as waves of crabs cross en masse. The migration begins with the rainy season, triggered by specific humidity and temperature conditions. Local authorities close roads and create crab crossings to protect the creatures. The event transforms the island temporarily, as crabs overtake every surface. This migration is considered one of the most spectacular synchronized animal movements on Earth. Number 29. Rottnest Island near Perth is home to the world's largest and most significant quokka population. These small marsupials, often called the happiest animals, became famous for their seemingly smiling faces. The island covers 19 square kilometers and protects about 10,000 quokkas. Isolation spared them from predators like foxes and cats, which devastated mainland populations. Rottnest has no cars and limited development, ensuring habitats remain intact. Visitors often take quokka selfies, boosting the island's popularity. Named by Dutch explorers who mistook quokkas for giant rats, Rottnest translates to rat's nest. Today, it symbolizes Australia's unique wildlife heritage. At number 30, the Kimberley region in Western Australia experiences one of Earth's most extreme tidal variations. King Sound, near Broome, records differences up to 11.8 meters between low and high tides. Twice daily, vast mudflats vanish under walls of water equivalent to a 4-story building. The geography of funnel-shaped inlets magnifies tidal surges, creating powerful phenomena like the horizontal falls, where water rushes through narrow gaps in cliffs. The coastline is rugged, with many narrow channels and gorges. As the tide moves, water is forced through these narrow openings at high speed, creating powerful horizontal flows. Number 31. Coober Pedy in South Australia produces 70% of the world's opals and is renowned for its underground lifestyle. With surface temperatures often exceeding 50 degrees Celsius, residents live in dugout homes carved into hillsides. These underground spaces maintain steady, comfortable temperatures year-round. The town includes underground churches, shops, and even hotels, creating a subterranean community. Mining tunnels often double as dwellings, recycling excavation into housing. The name Coober Pedy comes from an Aboriginal phrase meaning white man's hole. Visitors flock to see this unusual desert town, where geography and human ingenuity shaped one of the world's most unique settlements. Number 32. The Murray River supports the largest red river gum forest in the Southern Hemisphere, the vast Barma-Millowa Forest, which straddles the New South Wales-Victoria border. This iconic landscape hosts ancient eucalyptus trees that can live 500 to 1,000 years, with some growing so large that early settlers carved rooms inside their trunks. The forest extends for about 600 kilometers along the riverbanks, forming vital green corridors across otherwise dry regions. Towering up to 45 meters, river red gums provide shelter for hundreds of bird and mammal species. Their health directly reflects the condition of the river system, making them important ecological indicators. Resilient to both floods and droughts, red river gums symbolize adaptation to Australia's harsh yet dynamic water cycles. At number 33, the 12 Apostles are limestone sea stacks along the Great Ocean Road in Victoria. Originally numbering 9, erosion has reduced them to 7 major pillars. These towers stand up to 45 meters high, created over millions of years as waves carved cliffs into arches and then isolated stacks. Coastal erosion continues today at about 2 centimeters per year, meaning future collapses are inevitable. Despite their temporary nature, they attract millions of tourists annually. Protected within Port Campbell National Park, the 12 Apostles remain one of Australia's most iconic and visually stunning coastal landscapes. Number 34. Lake Bumbunga in South Australia shifts colors dramatically through the year. Depending on weather, salt levels, and microbial activity, it can appear pink, white, or even blue. The lake spans 14 square kilometers when full, but often shrinks during dry spells. Photographers flock to capture its surreal transformations, which come from salt-loving algae and bacteria interacting with sunlight. Historically, salt harvesting took place here, but today the lake is celebrated more for its beauty. Aboriginal people have long incorporated its cycles into cultural knowledge, marking Lake Bumbunga as both a natural and cultural landmark. Number 35. The Blue Mountains in New South Wales owe their signature blue haze to eucalyptus oil released by millions of trees. tiny droplets scatter sunlight, especially blue wavelengths, creating the area's distinct color. Covering over 1 million hectares, the region contains deep valleys, sandstone cliffs, and ancient forests. It is home to unique wildlife, including lyrebirds and rare marsupials, as well as important Aboriginal cultural sites. The combination of stunning vistas, biodiversity, and geological formations makes the Blue Mountains a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The bluish atmosphere gives this landscape an otherworldly appearance that draws visitors worldwide. At number 36, the Flinders Ranges in South Australia preserve fossils of some of Earth's earliest complex life. Dating back 540 million years, these Ediacaran fossils capture soft-bodied organisms rarely fossilized elsewhere. The ranges also display folded rock layers that reveal tectonic history, while Wilpena Pound forms a natural amphitheater 17 kilometers across. Rising 500 meters high, its rim walls create a dramatic enclosed basin. The arid climate preserved both fossils and landscapes exceptionally well. For geologists and paleontologists, the Flinders Ranges provide invaluable evidence of life before shells or bones evolved, making them globally significant. Number 37. The Daintree Rainforest in Queensland is the oldest surviving tropical rainforest on Earth, dating back 180 million years. This makes it over 100 million years older than the Amazon. The Daintree spans 1,200 square kilometers and contains over 3,000 plant species, including 390 found nowhere else. Many are direct descendants of the planet's first flowering plants. Wildlife includes cassowaries, tree kangaroos, and numerous unique frogs. The rainforest represents a living link to prehistoric times. Number 38. Litchfield National Park in the Northern Territory features extraordinary magnetic termite mounds. These towering structures, often 2 meters high, align perfectly north-south. Termites instinctively orient them this way to regulate temperature. Broad sides capture morning and evening sun, while narrow edges minimize midday heat. The result is natural air conditioning inside the colony. Thousands of these aligned mounds dot the park's savannas. They showcase how tiny creatures use Earth's magnetic field to survive. Visitors marvel at these insect-built landmarks, which represent some of the most remarkable natural architecture in the world. At number 39. In Australia's outback, mysterious Min-Min lights have been reported for over a century. These glowing orbs hover above the horizon, sometimes following travelers before disappearing suddenly. Witnesses describe them changing color, moving unpredictably, and even reacting to human presence. Most sightings occur near Boulia in western Queensland, though they are reported across remote areas. Scientists suggest atmospheric illusions caused by temperature inversions and light refraction, but no single theory explains all cases. Aboriginal traditions long referenced these lights, viewing them as spirits. The Min-Min lights remain one of Australia's most enduring geographical mysteries. Number 40. The Great Western Tiers in Tasmania rise abruptly from the surrounding plains, climbing nearly 1,000 meters. Their sheer cliffs force moist air upward, generating clouds, rain, and snow. This creates sharp contrasts. Lush forests cover the escarpments, while nearby lowlands remain dry. Stretching 100 to 130 kilometers, the tiers also expose ancient rock layers that reveal Tasmania's geological past. These cliffs mark one of Australia's most dramatic topographical shifts within short distances. They influence both climate and ecology, creating unique microenvironments. For visitors, the tiers offer some of Tasmania's most spectacular scenery. Number 41. The Simpson Desert contains the world's longest parallel sand dune system. Dunes stretch up to 200 kilometers in perfectly straight lines, separated by flat valleys called swales. Covering 176,500 square kilometers, the desert looks like massive red corduroy fabric from above. About 1,100 parallel dunes exist here, with some rising 40 meters high. Their red color comes from iron oxide coating the grains of sand. Despite extreme dryness, wildlife such as bilbies, a rare marsupial, have adapted to survive. The Simpson Desert demonstrates how consistent winds can shape vast, symmetrical desert landscapes over millennia. At number 42, the Lake Eyre Basin, also called the Catithanda Basin, covers 1/6 of Australia, 1.2 million square kilometers. It is the largest endorheic basin in Australia and amongst the largest in the world. The Lake Eyre Basin is about the size of France, Germany, and Italy combined. Despite this vast size, it is so flat that rainfall in Queensland can take up to 2 years to reach the Central Lake in South Australia. Floodwaters spread slowly across the basin, forming temporary inland seas that last for months before evaporating. Minimal elevation change makes determining flow directions difficult. These slow-moving waters sustain unique ecosystems adapted to extreme variability. The basin highlights Australia's remarkable flatness and the challenges of managing water in arid landscapes. Number 43. Lord Howe Island, located 600 kilometers east of mainland Australia, hosts the world's southernmost coral reef. Here, warm tropical currents meet cooler temperate waters, creating unique biodiversity. The reefs support nearly 500 fish species, many found nowhere else. Corals thrive in cooler waters than typical reefs, adapting to unusual conditions. The island itself is only 11 kilometers long, but features diverse landscapes, beaches, volcanic peaks, and forests. With strict limits on visitors, Lord Howe remains pristine. Its rare marine environment and scenic beauty earned it UNESCO World Heritage status, protecting this ecological treasure. Number 44. Australia holds about 30% of the world's uranium reserves, with deposits mainly in South Australia and the Northern Territory. Despite this, the country has no nuclear power plants. Instead, it exports uranium to supply global energy needs. Mines like Olympic Dam produce uranium alongside copper and gold, while Ranger Mine operates under strict environmental controls inside Kakadu National Park. These reserves formed billions of years ago through geological processes that concentrated radioactive elements in rock. Australia's uranium could theoretically fuel the world's nuclear power for centuries, yet its domestic energy policy remains focused on coal and renewables. At number 45, the Grampians National Park in Victoria features dramatic sandstone mountains that create microclimates within short distances. Temperatures can vary by 20 degrees Celsius between valleys and peaks. This variation supports diverse habitats, from cool temperate forests to near alpine conditions. The park is home to over 200 bird species, numerous endemic plants, and spectacular waterfalls, including Mackenzie Falls, which plunges 30 meters. Hall's Gap, a valley town, experiences significantly cooler conditions than surrounding plains due to cold air drainage. The Grampians' varied climates and rugged terrain make it both a biodiversity hotspot and a major tourist attraction. Number 46. Norfolk Island is a tiny Australian island in the South Pacific Ocean. Just 35 square kilometers in area, it supports unique ecosystems with species found nowhere else. Isolated 1,400 kilometers from mainland Australia, it evolved plants and animals independently. The famous Norfolk Island pine grows up to 65 meters tall. Native to the island, the pine is a symbol of the island and is pictured on its flag. The island's subtropical climate nurtures rainforests in valleys and coastal ecosystems by the sea. However, European settlers introduced threats like invasive species which endangered native plants. Today, conservation efforts aim to protect Norfolk's extraordinary biodiversity, which remains unmatched for such a small landmass. Number 47. Cradle Mountain, Lake St. Clair National Park in Tasmania, contains some of the purest natural water on Earth. Lake St. Clair, at 215 meters deep, is Australia's deepest natural freshwater lake. Its dark tea coloration comes from tannins leached from surrounding vegetation, yet the water is so clean that scientists use it as a global reference. The park also features glacially carved landscapes, dramatic alpine peaks, and pristine valleys. Rising 1,545 meters, Cradle Mountain dominates the skyline. This combination of ancient geology and untouched water makes the park a showcase of Tasmania's natural heritage. At number 48. Australia is both a country and a continent, and it is constantly moving. Tectonic forces are pushing it north at about 7 centimeters per year, making it one of the fastest drifting land masses on the planet. In roughly 30 million years, Australia is expected to collide with Southeast Asia, creating new mountain ranges rivaling the Himalayas and reshaping global geography and climate. Earthquakes already occur along shifting plate boundaries, showing that this collision is underway. Number 49. Australia is one of the most geologically stable continents. Unlike nations near plate boundaries, it experiences little seismic activity. Major earthquakes are extremely rare because the continent sits on an ancient, stable crust, far from active fault lines. Most tremors measure below magnitude 5.0 and cause minimal damage. This stability also explains Australia's flatness and its abundance of ancient rocks and mineral deposits. Australia's rare earthquakes highlight its geological stability, standing in sharp contrast to active zones like Japan or California, where seismic activity is much more frequent. At number 50, Australia moves northward at 7 centimeters per year, the fastest continental drift on Earth. By 2020, the movement had shifted GPS coordinates by nearly 1.8 meters, requiring recalibration of navigation systems. This drift comes from tectonic forces as the Indo-Australian plate pushes toward Asia. Scientists predict that in about 30 million years, Australia will collide with Southeast Asia, forming new mountain ranges and altering global geography. While imperceptible daily, the movement has practical impacts on surveying and construction. And there you have it, 50 fascinating geographical facts about Australia. From pink lakes and towering monoliths, to ancient rainforests and underwater aquifers, the land down under remains one of the most extraordinary places on Earth. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us again for more incredible facts about our amazing world.